Okay. This is April Federico on Brownies for Breakfast, and I am so excited to introduce Start Your Week with a Treat with my now second podcast guest, Ashley Loren. She is a 36-year-old mom of two, and she's a former career woman turned stay-at-home mom. And she had lost her sense of self. And Ashley, you worked hard for years trying to rediscover your purpose. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's, mum life is really, really difficult. And I suppose the battles that we come with that is we completely lose our sense of self. I had my eldest 4 years ago, so he's just turned 4. Went to watch his nativity this morning. Very proud mum moment. But as parents, we get so caught up in kind of the pregnancy of it all and the excitement of it all, and then when we finally get our bundle of joy, it's wonderful, and we're in this bubble with them, but that can also have its hard times. So that's kind of where my journey to realizing that, wow, this isn't just parenthood, this is so much more. And we often don't get told the hard things about parenthood. We get told that the babies cry and that they don't sleep, but other than that, nothing else comes along with that. So it's a tough ride.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm not a mom, but I know from my diabetes diagnosis that happened in February, I spent weeks just crying, sobbing in my room because like with any life change, no matter if it's becoming a mom or getting diagnosed with a chronic illness, there definitely comes sense of, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, but also like feeling a lot of self-doubt and feeling like, how am I going to get through this? And yeah, but so let me ask you something else. You're a former career woman. What were you doing before you became a stay-at-home mom?
Wow. So that's gosh, my whole life I was always pushing for more, but I also didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I don't know if you've been to the UK or if you've got UK listeners, they might know about a supermarket called Tesco that we have over here. And I live just down the road from one. And I didn't go to university. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I never had that real kind of passion for anything specific. And so my mum was like, right, you go and you get this job at Tesco and it will be good for you. And so I did. And I always had this mindset of, well, if I'm going to be here, then I'm going to do it properly. And I'm going to earn as much as I can, learn as much as I can, and try and make the best out of a situation that I didn't really know whether I wanted to be in it or not. So I ended up climbing the ladder, and I was there 9 years and I don't even know how many months, almost 10 years. And then it came up to my 10-year in this supermarket, or getting close to, and I thought, oh my gosh, I need to get out of here before I get stuck here forever. And I'd been on a couple of cruises with my mum. We'd traveled a bit, and my late father was an airline pilot, and so I knew that it was in me that I wanted to travel, but didn't really know how I was going to do it with very little money. And so I ended up working on cruise lines. But again, had to start at the bottom. I'd established myself in this supermarket and ended up leaving as a really quite high manager in the business, and ended up starting at the bottom again, folding t-shirts, which was really and I went on board and I was like, wow, I can't do this is going to drive me insane.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to my manager, what can I do to get up the ladder? And he gave me a challenge of selling some emeralds on one of the tables that was in like the promenade area on one night. And gave me a challenge, and I said, okay, if I smash that challenge, I want to go to the jewelry shop. I want something where I can learn about it, and gemstones and diamonds and the chemistry about it all. I want to know something.
Yeah.
Not an awful lot you can learn about t-shirts. So I smashed that challenge, and he moved me up there. And that was it, really. I worked my way up that kind of ladder, and ended up leaving. I went on a few different ships, and I did that for 5 years, and ended up leaving as the fine jewelry manager on one of the ships that I was on. And I absolutely loved it. But I had my 30th away, and then that was it for me. I just thought, oh my God, I'm 30. I need to do something else. I need to do something else with my life. And I still didn't really know what I wanted to do, but came back and got with my husband, who I used to work with at Tesco. So I'd known him for a really, really long time. And that was kind of the end of that story, really, when it came then to parenthood. But that's taken, you became so institutionalized on the ship that coming off was actually almost just as hard, because you felt so lost being back on land again. So I've had many, many years of really not knowing what it was that I wanted to do, or really not understanding who it was that I wanted to be. And that really stemmed from not understanding the kind of core root of my skills, I suppose. And that's hard. As a parent, you lose it all. It all goes out the window, and your mind turns to mush as well. So that doesn't help either.
Yeah, I liked a couple things that you said. Like one was like climbing up the ladder and completely just smashing the challenge with all the confidence and emotional intelligence you had to really just move up the ladder. And could you explain what that was like for you in terms of mindset?
Yeah, I think it was just about learning everything I could to be able to tell a story. I think that's the main thing, because no matter how much I learned about emeralds, which is what my task was at that time,
Yeah.
and I wasn't by, I literally, I had a pack with a bit of information in, and we were in Colombia at the time, so that was why we had it on. And I learned what I could, and I memorized it, but also I wanted to convey the story that it would tell and that it would give people. And it was about understanding that they wanted a memento from their special holiday that was going to remind them of the experience that they had, and the kind of, it's just about having that passion for something so much that it was going to make them fall in love with it, which was then going to, complete that sale, I suppose. And that was it was learning about that. It didn't matter that I didn't know an awful lot about them, but what it mattered was how I conveyed it. And absolutely having the confidence to go, I can do this, I can learn this in the short amount of time that I had, and going, if I don't do this, what's the other option? What is the other option? Selling t-shirts for the next, I used to do 10 months on, 2 months off. So selling t-shirts for the next 9 months. And that's not something I want to do. So always thinking about the alternative. I didn't want that alternative. So I had to make sure that I made it work.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, like, I know specifically, like, when I was first diagnosed with diabetes, I was like, you know what, do I want to be on insulin for the rest of my life? And I'm only 26. So like I have the power to reverse this. And because like the confidence and emotional intelligence I had, I should say have, but um I I'm like 0.5% away from being in remission, which is
Wow.
yeah. And yeah, so I really admire you for all of your chutzpah and really just going after what you want, because I think that's important in so many, in practically all ways of life. No matter if it's career, no matter if it's health, relationships, et cetera, et cetera. And let me ask you something else. So what is your main focus when it comes to life coaching?
My main focus is a reflection of my story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the people that I like to help, that I like to work with, because I know exactly what they're going through. So as a mum, when I felt completely unfulfilled and like I had no purpose in life other than to be this milking machine for these kids, um, that was really, what it boiled down to, trying to find my passion again, trying to re-find my hobbies and the things that I was interested in, but also trying to find the things that I was good at. Because now that I had a family, I thought, I could go back to that supermarket but I don't want to. Like, I want to have the flexibility and do what I want to do on my terms and live my life the way that I deserve to, and the way that everyone deserves to. But when you're a parent and you then have other responsibilities, that was such a massive thing. And I didn't want to be one of those mums, and nothing against those career mums that choose that, because right. Sometimes we need that. Like, it's really hard to get away from it all, and having that job really helps get away from it and have adult conversations. So absolutely nothing against the women that want to do that. But for me, it was about having that flexibility and saying, actually, it's my kid's nativity. So, I don't want to be asking permission to go and see that from someone else. So it's about helping people find their passion and fulfillment in life. And if they want that to be a flexible fulfillment, actually, what can we find that they can do to find their, I'm going to use the term ikigai. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. It's
I've never heard of that.
No, it's a Japanese, I don't want to say theory, but it's a Japanese way of life. Right. So it's about finding your passion, finding your skill, finding what you're good at, but finding also something that you can be paid for, and giving value to the world, but also receiving what you deserve for it. And having those 4 areas of your life, what overlaps in the middle is your purpose, is the thing that you could be striving for, where your life you will find fulfillment in everything, because what you're doing is a part of who you are, and a part of the core being that you come with, your spirit, your skills, what you can give value to the world with, but also what you can then live your life out doing, because you're then getting paid for as well. So yeah, that's my core thing. I can help people with other things as well, but for me, because that's the journey that I've taken, that's what I can help more people with.
That is amazing. I applaud you for that so much. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to really take your story and apply it to other people, and how they can practice basically your philosophy. Not just like the Japanese philosophy that you mentioned, but I mean, granted, it is helpful. And I've never heard of that. That's so interesting. How did you come about that Japanese philosophy?
Oh, do you know what? I am one of those people that I love self-development. Yeah. I love learning something new every day. And so I make it my mission to pick up a book every day, listen to a podcast every day, do something that makes me 1% better tomorrow than I was today. And I've come across the term a few times, but I wanted to look more into it. So I'm reading a book at the minute, which is purely called Ikigai, and it's all, I'm sure I'm saying that right, but maybe I'm not. I don't know that I've heard many people talk about it before, but yes, when I'm in that kind of self-development world of, right, I need to learn something new every day. Yeah. And then you come across these things quite often, I suppose. And I think the reason that I wanted to then be able to help other people with it is because I know that as mums, we don't often have time to do that, to do self-development. It takes time out of our schedule. And so, by me absorbing that over the years and trying to do what I can to find that sweet spot, it means that other people don't have to dig as deep, because I've got the tools there that I can help to help others with.
That's amazing. Yeah, like I remember in my own personal diagnosis, I was devouring like pieces of literature one at a time via Audible, like the Wellness Project, high no, Fiber Fueled, and also I think it was God, what's it called? The Glucose Revolution. That's a big one. Um and So let me ask you something else. So, what would you say to stay-at-home moms who have really, like you said, lost your sense of self and purpose? What would you say to stay-at-home moms like that who are in your situation?
I think the first thing that you really need to do, that we all should do as humans, but as a mum, it really goes out of the window, is
Mm-hmm.
self-care. And it's hard to find time for yourself. It really is when you're so, you've got these children that are so dependent on you. But doing that is so important, because you then have time with your own thoughts. You then have time to take care of yourself. For me, it was washing my hair. That sounds so thing, something that so many people take for granted, but for me it was having the time to wash my hair. And I would, and still do, I've got to say, uh even now that my kids are at school, I get up 2 hours before they do.
Yeah.
And no, that sounds extreme, and I know not all mums are going to be able to do that, and they might be up in the night feeding, but once you get into a routine, having that time to yourself in the morning where I can sit down and have a coffee with myself, or I can sit down and jump in the shower before my kids want to come in with me, which is always the way, has just made so much difference. And so, I think to be able to get to that place again where you're finding fulfillment in your own life, you really need to make time for yourself. Whether that's not switching on Netflix as soon as the kids go to bed,
Right.
not having the lie-in that I know you desperately want, but just taking that time and making that time for yourself. And that's the other thing as well. Like, I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't feel
Right.
like I have time to watch TV. I feel like there's so much to do in life and that I want to achieve in my life, that actually that's not a great way of me spending my time. And that's not to say that I don't, because I do, but I really pick and choose my time where I feel like, okay, I need to have a break. I need to have that rest time where I can just zone out and watch something that is kind of my relaxation time. But if you need to make you a priority. Of course your children are a priority, but by giving yourself back some time, you become a better mother and a better person for it. So that would always be my first point of call.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, I came up with this philosophy of my own. I think it was like last Friday or Saturday maybe, but it basically said, well, I said like um like you can binge watch Netflix all you want, but that's not going to help you be the woman you aspire to be.
Yes, love that.
Yeah.
Love that. I actually heard something the other day that was from somebody that I followed on Instagram, and it was kind of very similar to that. And it was uh will it make the boat move forward? So
Oh,
it came from I believe, from what I can remember him saying, it came from watching students doing like rowing, and in being in rowing competitions. Like,
yeah.
we have some big schools over here like Oxford and Cambridge, and they do
Right.
rowing competitions. And the team would, if they wanted to go and eat a slice of pizza, or they wanted to go out the night before or the week before the race, or they wanted to go and do something, they would ask themselves, is it going to make the boat move faster? And
No.
if the answer was no, then they didn't do it. So if the answer was going to go and eat that pizza and it's not going to help them, then don't do it. If they are skipping training for watching Netflix or developing themselves in some other way, is it going to make the boat move faster? And if the answer is no, then don't do it. If the answer is yes, because you need a break, then sure, we all need a break sometimes. But I really liked that saying, and it's similar to your philosophy as well. And I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you. And I like that philosophy as well. Like, will it help the boat move forward?
Mm.
Yeah, it's like it's similar to the way I manage diabetes. It's like I could eat like say Lucky Charms for breakfast, but however, is that going to do my body any good? Like no, it's going to make me crash and burn and just feel like overall gross. And it's just going to make my blood sugar like shoot up. So, which no one wants if
Mm.
the goal is to be in remission. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have something similar actually. I've discovered that I am gluten intolerant. And
Oh.
my gosh, like it was such a huge thing when I started cutting it out of my diet, because I just felt like this different person. And the other weekend, my in-laws over, and I was like, oh, do you know what, I'm just gonna have the regular bread roll rather than the gluten-free ones, because they're expensive, they don't taste great. Do you know what, it'll be fine, because you get complacent. It'll be fine, I'll eat the regular bread roll. And oh my god, I paid for it that night. And I suppose for you as well, you have to remember how it makes you feel, what the things that it does to you, bring that to the forefront of your mind, that really stops you for grabbing those things that perhaps aren't going to do you so good.
Yeah, it's really all about that like emotional intelligence. And like it's like you're craving one thing, but you have to say, like, is this who I am now?
Mm,
I'm
mm,
sure like I'm sure you come across that as a mom.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that the not only is this who I am now, but also is this who I want to be, you know.
right.
And like in your instance, you want to get out of this situation, you don't want to be taking insulin for the rest of your life. You don't, if you can fix the problem, and if you can help get yourself out of it, then you do. And the same thing for me, and for the people that I coach as well. Like, who do you want to become? And if the person that you want to become wouldn't do the thing that you're doing, then you need to stop yourself from doing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are there any final thoughts you want to share or
No, not really. I think a lot of it comes from really reframing every situation that you're in, as
yeah.
you have to every day. You have to take the diagnosis that you've been given, reframe it, and move forward rather than let it weigh you down. And you don't beat yourself up about it. You don't let it make you sad. You let it drive you forward into becoming a healthier, better person. And that's something that I love. I love finding the challenges that we come across in life,
Mhm.
and and turning them into opportunities to learn better, to learn more, to move forward in life, and to perhaps help someone else as well by the lesson that we've learned. And I think that's the same thing for everything. I think every challenge that we come across in life, every barrier that gets put in our way, it's only there because it's meant to be there. We're meant to overcome it. We're meant to learn from it. We're meant to help others with it, and share what we've learned. Exactly what you're doing with this podcast. I think it's incredible. You've reframed what you're doing. You're moving past it, and you're helping others to see more as well. And that's fantastic. And the more people that can do that, the more of us that can help others to reframe situations that they're in, the better. So it's a brilliant thing that you're doing.
Thank you. And it's a really brilliant thing that you're doing as well for other women. And yeah, so how can people find you on social media or
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm mostly on Instagram. I do love Instagram. And I'm at Ashley Loren Loves. So that's ASHLEYLOREN Loves. My name is spelt not so different in the States, but here in the UK, my name is a bit weird. So I get many different variations of Ashley and Lauren. So that's that there. And I currently have some spaces for coaching clients as well. They're filling up, but it's nice to have that space to still help people. And I also have an ebook launching soon as well. So, if anyone's interested, then follow me on Instagram and keep an eye out for that launching soon.
That's amazing. I didn't even know you were coming out with an ebook. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, congratulations.
It is exciting. I think, when we have a goal in our minds, we have to find all of the ways that we can just up level ourselves and push ourselves forward. And I mean, that could be something that you could do as well. It gets it out there in another format. It gets different people's eyes on it, and it makes you step into yourself more. It makes you step into the person that you want to be. And yeah, I thought, that's a good stepping stone. So why not do it?
Yeah, I've actually been spoiler alert for my listeners. I'm working on a book based on my Cicero method, and which stands for confidence and intelligence create emotional resilience to optimize. And yeah, so that's kind of a little something I'm working on right now. It'll probably be out like after the new year, but um yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you so much, Ashley, for being on.
Thank you
And
so much for having me.
yeah, thank you. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.